everyone, welcome to the final step of thumbnailings. We have already chosen our final thumbnails to move forward, and right now we are going to do a third pass, this thumbnail. So as you can see from the previous thumbnail, started from here, and then we have ended on this. Yeah, a lot have changed. So right now, the third pass would be finalizing every detail. And yeah, and then we can go on to masking and values in the future. At this point, I want everything to be much more accurate than ever, especially how the hair and horns, anything else will make sense. And one thing I probably try not to change would be the face, because I already love the expression a lot. So let's try to keep the expression. It's very important at this point to also pull out references that you think might work for you, especially the facial structure. Yeah, at this point, yeah, I already have sort of an idea what I already, so it's definitely easier for me to work with. Like, we have already settled the things we need to settle: composition, proportion, the rough placement of where the legs and the tedious work has been done. And right now we are just going to the details, which is one of the most relaxing and fun part of the entire process, because you are starting to push your illustration. Your illustration is starting to materialize right in front of you. And this is when, if you dream or when you show someone the progress, this is the most interesting part, because everyone will start understanding what you are. The only thing right now is I'm thinking if I should make the face slightly different from the actual face, because I do like the current face I draw. But I think a little bit of stylization is fine, because my art style is also constantly improving, and I also want to try different kind of art style. For this stage, probably the thing that I want to point out is drawing hair. At this point, I wouldn't spend too much time drawing so many lines on the hair. I would just draw several lines just to indicate what's on the inside. And then that's it. So, for example, if I know that there's a lot of line here, I'll probably just draw like one line, another line, smaller line, just to indicate that, okay, every hair from here is pointing towards that direction, it's going towards the same flow. And that is actually enough for the viewer to register what's happening in the hair. At this point, detail is not that important. What is important is the language, or the indication is much more important. What we can do is giving her a darker eyeshadow, so it look more like I will definitely need a reference for the ears later on. Now, fine. Also, continue to flip. This is where things might screw up if you do not flip enough. You must always constantly be checking your perspective, proportion, and for this is when everything is really important, especially perspective and forms. And also for hair, other than drawing the usual the shape, you want to make sure that it's hair like works like paper. So there's folds in them, like so, like so, in and out, crease and cross. This way, your hair will definitely look more fluid and less flat. So some part of your hair is showing the underneath, and some part of your hair is showing the top side. Basically, treat hair like paper. I'm trying to be clean here. I'm not trying to be perfect at this stage. I am not trying to draw uh, anime or enclosed line work. At this point, I'm just trying to indicate better for my masking later on. Yes, because at the end of the day, the final product is not going to have line work in my art pieces. So I will not wish to, I will not be very particular about how good the line work is as long as I understand what is going on. Yeah, at this point, it's really just to solve as many problem or as many thing you might come into as a problem. We do know that you want to draw breasts, not going to be this sharp when you are folding outwards like that. This kind of line should be precise at this stage as well. So this is when you can also fix problem like here. At first, it doesn't seem like we can understand where it's going, which line is going to where. So this is where you start to solve all these problems and make sure the line doesn't intersect in a weird way that you cannot understand later on. And which line is the correct line, which line is telling the right information or giving the best result as a curve. Oh yeah, here is another problem that we just met is that we have not really decided on a very nice pose on the finger. So that's when we have to find reference again, just to do. So again, I would not draw, I will not connect this part first, and I will just draw the hand first because for hands, sometimes you can look at your own hand, and in this case, I am looking at my own hand. If I really couldn't get it right, then that's when I really find references, like precise references to match the quality I want. hands are always one of the toughest things to draw. But it's also the most rewarding if you can do a really pair of hand. And thus is definitely one of the most feminine part to showcase a female appeal. Be sure to study some hands. Time. If not, really find really nice hand reference. I am really fortunate to have a very feminine and long hand to reference. Oh yeah, I also forgot that our in this case, if I were to, we should see the bottom part of the hand because this is sort of an upshot to the so this actually does give us some if you do not know how to draw hand, it's important for you to start drawing basic shape to construct the hand of a cube. Not a cube, but a square. And for the hand, for the legs, right? As long as the silhouette is looking good, it should be fine because at the end of the day, this important part of the painting is probably just gonna show the forms. And then we have eventually reached one of the most complicated part, which is for wings. We can talk a little bit about the anatomy of bat wing. For bat wings, we have to understand that in fact wings are not are actually fingers. So that's actually a finger joint and then broken into 3 parts as well. So it act exactly like our finger, and then there's webbing in between the fingers. So that is what makes a wing a wing. Even webbing on the top part. This case, my character references does not have the webbing on the top part, so we can skip for that. So for wings, so this is probably the elbow bone, and of course, due to artistic liberty, we can curl this part a little bit, and this is probably the thumb. This is probably the thumb, and then this is where everything starts to break into different parts. Right? So since there's a joint here, we can definitely break it here and then go down again. Okay, for now, we probably don't need to be so precise. I want the shape to be clean and smooth for now because we can always add those bumps later on if we really want it. So as you can see, 2 stripes and 2 stripes. So we sort of got everything we need already. Like even details like tone of the between the webbing tearing, we can also add it in later on. We really want it. And now let's move on to the horn. So the horn is hidden behind the fringe. We also have to decide whether whether this piece should be facing here or piece should be facing the other side, because there's definitely difference in detail on both sides of there's an earring on the right side of the character, but there's no earring. There's another kind of earring on the other side of the character, and there's also a hair curl on this side of the character. So I think this is where we need to settle things out. I kind of like it this way as the benchmark. I kind of like being on the right, so I think we will follow this detail right here. Details like this can be added later on. Like, it's really not important right now because so for hair length, hair length is until the anterior you stretch it out. We are safe to extend it until here, like. Again, let's just use simple shapes to block out the horn, and we will fix it later. We will fix everything later with a proper lasso tool. Yeah, now we just want to make sure the shape is clean and precise. Definitely, the horn size is slightly different right now. This horn should be thinner than the horn in front. And we almost forgot about the hand behind. So let's definitely go and block it in. So from the breast, we know that there is a perspective going on right here. So once again, if you are not able to eyeball certain perspective, please use reference. Yeah, sometimes I make mistake as well if I. And most of the things that we needed already. Initially, I wanted the hair to be longer, like probably. But I was wondering if it's actually necessary. I kind of like the. It's creating a tangent right here. So to me, it's not a good thing. Maybe we can keep the hair smaller because at the end of the day, it's not the focal point. and I kind of like it, like, really sleek at the on the start. So there's more things to. It looks also the curves looks better with a smaller stem from the wing, from the start of the wing. I think this is definitely a strong base to start with. Definitely, we can try to indicate more parts. It's not necessary at this point. For the sake of the tutorial, I will be adding more just to show more clarity at this point. So we can sort of like draw even the trimming for the those already. Just take note when if you are adding details like that, please use a lighter. Please draw with a lighter. And you do not want the line weight of the detail to look exactly like your outline, because that will cause it to look like it will be a conflict of interest basically. Oh, and we actually totally forgot about the tail. So there's definitely when you are trying to fix your messy line, sometimes you will not know what line is what line because there's simply too many lines, which is one of the thing that if you are a line artist, you will be more concerned about drawing good lines on the first try. Since I'm a painter, line work is mostly it's for me to just visualize the composition or the line of action in a faster manner. You know what? For the tail, I can draw on a new layer. We can definitely be very expressive about this. And her tail is really, really long in the. And see like how I'm drawing two circular line. It shows that the tail is probably like warping like that, like looping around. And it also gives us a compositional line right here, pointing upward like that. So that also gives you, yeah, this tail definitely gives you a way to do some nice composition. Or what we can do is definitely flip the tail like that. Let it point from here. It actually does help because of where the wind is going, right? Where the wind is going, I think it helps. So let's try our best. There's too many details on the top part. This tail is looking too literal. Like it's purposely pointing on her, so we should use a line that are more natural. Or the tail can be a foreground. Yeah, but anything works at this point. Tail can be very huge foreground. Does not matter. Yeah, of course, I don't want this tail to be bigger than. At this point, everything for the line work is done. I will move on to the next step.